Welcome to your morning mobility routine. Remember, everything we do is in your pain-free range of motion. If something hurts, go around it like a rock in the road. Start with the cervical spine, lower chin to chest, and roll down one vertebra at a time from top to bottom. Scrape your chin along the clavicle as you rotate your head. Look over the shoulder. Drop your ear towards your heel and then sweep the head through extension. As you roll your head to the opposite side, turn your head, once again, trying to look over your shoulder. Lower the chin down and scrape it back across the center along your clavicle. While you do these rotations, take your time. Move really slowly and explore the range. Imagine each time in your pain-free range, you could go a little further, a little deeper, a little wider, a little bit smoother. Once you come through 2 reps, roll back up to the standing position. Tuck your chin in closely and roll down. Take it in the opposite direction. Look over your shoulder, drop your ear towards your right heel, and sweep through your full range and spinal extension. Notice how with each rotation, we're taking our time and exploring what that range is. This is your safe range, the way you can move through the world without injury. Again, as you come back to the midline, slowly roll up and see if you can feel the movement of each joint. Next to the scapula, elevate, protract, depress, and then retract. Lift the scapula as high as you can. Draw them forward and away from each other. Press them down towards the floor and retract, pull them close together. Then reverse directions. Do the best you can to leave your rib cage out of it and literally move the scapula along your rib cage, and closer and farther away from the spine. The next movement is for your elbows. Flex the elbow, bringing palm towards your body. When you're in that full flexion, imagine that the palm was a laser and try to shine that laser beam out over your shoulders. Next, switch directions, lifting with the palms facing forward and reversing, palms up on the way down. Try to expand on the rotational capacity of your elbow joint. Next is the wrist. We'll take it one at a time here. Use your left hand to hold on to the bones of your right arm so that as you make these slow, big, sweeping rotations with your wrist, all of the rotation comes from the wrist joint itself and not because you're turning your forearm to the left and the right. 2 rotations in one direction and then take it in the opposite direction. The next step are finger cars. Starting with just your thumb, make 2 big slow circles to the right and 2 big slow circles to the left. Enjoy this one because index finger, middle finger, wait till you get to the ring finger, that's the hardest one. Just see what you can do. Can you control that joint, the base of the finger? Can you control the rotational capacity of that joint? And then switch sides. Make sure when you start palm facing up that the inside of your arm stays exactly facing the sky the whole entire time. You'll feel it, the radius and ulna in your hand. Try to rotate left and right. Do your best to stabilize with the feedback from your right hand so that you can really isolate the movement. Forearm still, wrist bones in rotation. Who wants to do finger cars? Obviously not me. Go back to thumb. Index finger, 2 big circles clockwise, 2 big circles counterclockwise. And just see how much control you can develop with those fingers that seem super reliant on others, like your ring finger or your middle finger. Next, we'll move to your thoracic spine. Lower chin to chest and round down. Rotate to the left. Flex to the left, and then extend through your thoracic spine. That's your upper back. Sweep it all the way around, flex right, rotate right, and sweep it around to the front. Again, rotate to the left, flex to the left, and extend. The challenge for most of us, take it in the opposite direction, is that we tend to do this movement in the lower back or with the hips. So do your best in the beginning to simply try to isolate this to the thoracic spine, everything that's got a rib attached to it. And over time, we'll introduce some passive blocking so that you can really feel when you're moving into the hips instead of keeping this into the rotational capacity of your thoracic spine. Once you come back around to the center, roll up one vertebra at a time as you bring it back up to standing. Next joint we'll hit on are your shoulders. Starting with the palm facing forward, ribs in nice and tight, pack air into your lower abdomen and sweep the arm across your body and up, ending up in shoulder flexion with your biceps by your ear, thumb facing backward. Internally rotate the arm from the shoulder, wring it out and reach behind you. As you sweep the arm back, continue to internally rotate so that when you get all the way down, you end up palm facing out with your thumb backward. Sweep the arm behind you as high as it'll go, and when you can't get any higher, begin to externally rotate the arm and end up with it back by your ear. Continue to sweep it all the way across your body, and then arm by your side, palm facing forward. Try your best to keep your back out of this, ribs in nice and tight, so that all of the movement is isolation of the upper arm, your humerus bone, in the shoulder socket. We really are trying to break this down to singular joint movement. As you reach to the back, imagine you're digging out a snow cave. Keep trying to reach a little bit deeper, fighting for more range and fighting for more control of your joint. As we switch to the other side, I have an existing shoulder injury right now, so you will notice the range here is a little more challenge for me. Not as much flexion, not as much internal rotation, and then as I begin to reach back, there's a few ranges that feel a little tender, so I have to come around them like a bump in the road. And this is how we explore any range in our body. If it starts to hurt, come out. How could you approach that range in a pain-free zone? Remember, we're always pain-free in our controlled articular rotations because moving into pain on the closing angle side is simply going to wipe the motor maths clear in our brain. So we have to start all over from scratch again, learning how to use that joint. Take your time, move super slowly as you go through these, and as you build up your stamina and your capacity, start to imagine that the air got 30, 40, even 50% thicker, and you have to literally push or pull your arm through that thick air, using your muscular strength so that you can both build strength in the muscles that you use to do this motion and increase the strength of the connective tissue that makes up these joints, the cartilage, the ligaments, and the connective tissue and bones that comprise these joint capsules. All right, let's move on to hips. They function very similar to a shoulder. Flex your hip and draw it across your midline. Externally rotate and slowly begin to abduct or pull your knee out to the side. Keeping your knee high, internally rotate, that means lift the heel high, and reach your knee behind you as far as you can. Remember, you're trying to make as big a circle as possible. Knees together, left foot down. Flex the knee again. Let's go through the second half of that rep and open it to the side. Abduction, slowly sweeping the knee across your body. Externally rotate, bringing the heel across the midline, and set your leg down, feet together. That's one rep, we'll take two. Again, flexing at your hip, draw your knee up and across the midline. Actively and intentionally externally rotate, turn your thigh out, get the heel high. Then internally rotate, lift the heel behind you, and fight for the range. Reach both your knee and heel behind you as far as it will go. Don't be surprised if you get super cramping in your hips or even hamstring as you do this exercise. Remember, if you need support, use a wall or a chair or even a pole to hold you up. It's never cheating to use stabilizers so that you can access this range. Opposite leg, really work on that external rotation. Keep the knee high as you externally rotate and then actively internally rotate the opposite direction. Knee stays high, heel goes out. Good, foot down, that's one half of one rep. We're doing two. Lift your heel and sweep your leg out to the side, forward and across. If you pictured your range like a big circle, try to push the limits of that circle to make it a little bit bigger, a little cleaner, a little bit more controlled. each time you access these pain-free cars. Let's take it down and start working on your knees. First things first, trap your thigh so it can't move. We're looking for rotation of your knee joint. Yeah, the knee's not a hinge. It should be able to rotate. Notice how the shin bone rotates left and right, independent of any movement here in the thigh. Trap your right knee and your right armpit, and then clasp your left biceps with your right hand, trapping the top of your thigh so thigh can't rotate. We evert and extend, invert and flex. And remember, as you go up in these, switch directions. You don't have to straighten or lock the knee. Just really work to make that circle you're creating, that oval shape with your foot, a little bigger and a little bigger each time. Shift the trap now to your shin bone as we work on your ankle, and really take your time. We've all done ankle circles super fast. Slow down. Make sure you get a few cramps in the foot. If you're not getting any cramping to start, you're probably not able to challenge your range just yet. So don't be surprised if you get some foot cramps or even calf cramps as you do this one. And then we'll move on to your toes, which should move independently just like your fingers. To start, place your hands on your little toes and lift your big toe towards the ceiling. And then switch, place your hand on your big toe and lift your little toes towards the ceiling. The goal would be that you could do it without any feedback. Big toe up, little toes up. Lift all of your toes off the floor and set them down pinky, ring, middle, index toe, and then big. Again, everybody up, and from the outside in, see if you can come down with control. If you need your hand on your foot for feedback, keep it there. Try this for a couple of weeks. You'll be shocked at how much range you get. Flexed and everted, extend, reach through your heel, invert, and make sure, like, look at a freckle on your shin or a dot on your yoga pants so you can see that rotation happening. The human knee should have capacity for rotation, and when it loses that, that's a great sign that injury is coming next. Switch directions. Drag your heel down. Again, as you're ready and you have the strength, increase the imaginary density of the air, so you have to pull it through. Trap your shin bone in your right hand here so that there's no rotation in the knee, and you force yourself to do these ankle circles with the ankle itself, all by itself. This whole mobility routine should take you about 15 minutes. You can totally do that. And then we'll go back to the toes. Big toe up, little toes down. Big toe down, little toes up. Big toe up, little toes down. Big toe down, little toes up. Feel free to use the feedback. Everybody up. And then come down from the outside in, slowing it down the more you do it so that you feel control. Now we're going to separate and contract the feet. Spread your toes as wide as you can and draw them together. Spread and draw together. It's not always easy when we wear shoes all day long, but I promise you get more control the more you practice it. Next, kneecaps. Yeah, your kneecap needs to be able to move in your body. Relax your thigh, jiggle it, shake it out. Just start by moving it up and down and then side to side so you can feel that that bone has capacity for movement. And then, like you are using a clock, press your knee to 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2, 3, in a full circle. Move it all the way around. In 12's a good, you can break it into smaller parts if you want to, but make sure that you move it a couple of times clockwise and a couple of times in the counterclockwise direction. And as you do this exercise, moving the kneecap in your body, pay attention to the range that is the most challenging for you, because we're going to do something with that at the end of it. Notice I'm slowly working my way around the kneecap so I have capacity to push it in the other direction. You always have to relax the quad. It's used to working hard. Make sure that knee is moving around, and here we go. 12. Where are we at? 6 o'clock, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 o'clock, 12. Right, take it in those directions. For most of us, pressing the left kneecap up and out, so towards 11 o'clock, and the right kneecap up and out towards 1 o'clock is the most challenging range. So once you've done all this kneecap work and you've sort of assessed which range of motion you're in the most deficit, then once you've finished your articular rotations of the kneecap, you can do a 2-minute hold. So for me, it's up and out, pressing with your thumbs up and out, set a timer for a 2-minute hold. And then you've done it, your daily mobility routine.